Thank you for joining us, and we'll start with security. The Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, seeks justice for victims of military airstrikes that killed over 100 people in Tudumbiri village of Igabi local government area of Katsina or Kaduna State. The Sultan said this at the Emirate Palace in Kafanchan, southern Kaduna. The report.
Reflecting on the incident that happened at Tudumbiri in Igabi local government area of Kaduna State, where dozens of people lost their lives, the Sultan urged the people to remain calm, assuring that they will ensure justice is done to victims of the attack.
But the point here is we must all know that this is the will of Almighty Allah, but also have to ensure justice is done to avert future occurrences. We will pressure the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to ensure that a very detailed and thorough investigation has been carried out to ascertain exactly what happened that Sunday, so that at least people will have rest of mind that knowing what really happened.
In his response, the Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, said the armed forces will remain focused in their tasks of ensuring peace in the country.
And also mention on the issue that happened at Tudumbiri. It is highly, highly regrettable. It is unfortunate. It is an event that should never have happened. Our task as members of the armed forces is to bring peace, is to protect the innocent, so that Nigerians can enjoy their country. But this has happened, and we will make sure that we take every necessary step to ensure that it does not happen anywhere again in Nigeria or any other place that we're operating. Every other person has continued to pray. Please let us not relent. We will have challenges, but we are one country, we are one people. We should never allow anybody or anything to divide us. Division is not what we stand for. We stand for unity, faith, and justice.
Sultan also pledges to support the Chief of Defense Staff to ensure peace in the country.
And I believe we have been working closely, and I want to assure you we will work much closer with him as Chief of Defense Staff to bring solutions to the numerous problems facing this country. I mean, security solutions. And like the MC said, that we use him to bring peace to Kaduna. Peace has run away from Kaduna, southern Kaduna, for so many years. I don't know why. Let's sit together, let's find out the problems. Let's all be honest with one another, face the problems squarely as one big family.
Abubakar also admonished the entire Muslim Ummah to refrain from insinuations on the Tudumbiri incident, assuring that they will follow up the matter to logical conclusion. Emir of Zazzau Ahmed Nuba Mali and that of Jama'ah Muhammadi Isa Muhammadu appealed to the people to continue to live with one another in peace and harmony. Special prayers were also offered at the Jama'ah Jumma'at Mosque for the repose of the souls of the victims of Kurmimbiri incidents. From Jama'ah, Nikafancha local government area of Kaduna State, Bello Musa reporting for Trust TV News.
The Katsina State Police Command says it has rescued 69 kidnapped victims and neutralized 3 suspected kidnappers in the state. Briefing newsmen on the command's activities for November 2023, the spokesman Aliyu Sadiq said the command also received 185 rounds of 7.62 live ammunition, 90 rounds of 50 or 50 or 5.56 mm live ammunition, 13 AK-47 magazines, and 57 bags of mace. Sadiq said within the period under review that 81 cases of major crimes such as armed robbery, kidnapping, culpable homicide, cattle rustling, among others, were reported. He noted that 130 suspects were arrested in connection with the reported cases, while 63 were charged to court. Sadiq conveyed the appreciation of the State Commissioner of Police, Aliyu Musa, to residents of the state for assisting the police with useful information and calling on them to continue to support the command in the ongoing fight against criminality. Still in Katsina State, the governor, Duko Rada, has directed the immediate suspension of a staff of Ministry of Education for alleged sexual harassment of a female student. The directive is contained in a statement issued by the Director Press, Office of the Secretary of the State Government, Abdullahi Aliyu Yaradua, and made available to newsmen on Friday in Katsina. It said the accused, Lawal Ibrahim, was the principal of Government Day Secondary School, Dantankari, in Dandume local government area of Katsina State. The governor directed the Commissioner for Basic and Secondary School Education to investigate the allegation with a dispatch, take appropriate action, and report back to the governor. The statement further directed the Commissioner of Police to investigate the allegation. In Ogun State, the Commissioner of Police, Ogun State Command, Abiodun Alamutu, has appealed to residents to be security conscious and avoid going out with people without informing their relatives. Alamutu made the appeal in Abeokuta when he led his officers to exhume the corpse of a victim killed by a suspected ritualist for investigation. Abbas Dalibi reports.
The Ogun State Police Commissioner warned residents of the state to be conscious of antics of ritualists, kidnappers, human part sellers who always lure unsuspecting members of the public to isolated areas to carry out their nefarious acts.
What happened was on the 8th of November, we received a report of missing person. One Akim Salami claimed that his son, one called Salami, 18 years of age, left their residence and has since not returned. The matter was handed over to our anti-courtesan or the command's anti-kidnapping team, who on technical intelligence recovered the phone of the missing person. Further analysis of the phone took us to this place.
Commissioner Alamutu, who was speaking after exhuming the corpse of a missing person at the house of one of the suspected ritualists who claimed to be a herbalist, noted that the suspect allegedly killed the victim, cut off his head and wrist, and sold them to one of his customers.
The head and the two wrists was sold to his partner, Niyi Ifadu, for the sum of 100,000. He was using some other parts, and the remaining he buried in the shallow grave that he just covered.
He said through intelligence and painstaking effort by his men, 2 suspects have been arrested. The suspect, who said he regrets his action, pleaded for mercy and promised that he will never engage in such acts again.
God should forgive me. And if God give me an opportunity not to do this again, I won't repeat this anymore.
The commissioner said the matter is still being investigated to ensure that everybody involved is arrested and prosecuted in order to reduce such incidents in the society. Abbas Ibrahim Alibi, Trust TV, Lagos.
Nigerian professionals are decrying the impact of the partial implementation of Nigeria's Local Content Act as the Senate Committee on Interior sounds the alarm on counterproductive practices by multinational companies operating in Nigeria. In this report, Abdulrahman Umar speaks to experts on the gaps in the system. His report.
With Nigeria's unemployment rate at 4.1%, it has become imperative for government to activate measures that will absorb Nigerians into gainful employment. Recently, the Ministry of Interior announced surpassing its 600 million naira revenue target from the issuance of expatriate quota permits in 2023, thereby generating 1,195 billion naira between January and October, a development that has been described as a net negative considering the cost on Nigeria's human capital development.
It will affect it positively and negatively. Positively in the sense that these expatriates, when they come in, yes, we learn some things from them, which they already have from their well-developed climes. But negatively and negatively, very negative, they will take the jobs they will take opportunities, they will take even businesses. I have seen a situation where a Chinese company is producing bread in Nigeria because they have the capital.
The operations of multinational companies in Nigeria have long been a controversial talking point, with homegrown professionals speaking holes in the expatriate quota, which is undermining and limiting opportunities for Nigerian expats across sectors.
We have the details. We have the list of the expatriates, but highly placed people, very close to government, are involved. Maybe they are getting some benefits out of it, but the benefit is always going to come back negative to the country.
Nkemekoro is a human rights activist who says the federal government is constitutionally mandated to protect the interests of Nigerians first at all times for sustainable growth and development.
Government ordinarily ought to exist for the people, but it does appear that in Nigeria the reverse is the case. The government is existing for the personal benefit of the individuals who are manning the helm of affairs in governance. Hence, the people, including the youth, are no longer reaping the benefits of democracy.
With the federal government generating more money from the issuance of expatriate quota, industry players believe the government should look at its impact on the livelihood of Nigerians.
Look at local content. You have in terms of services, you have in terms of the personnel, and in terms of materials. But this has to do with the personnel. And I think we have the right personnel today in Nigeria to handle most of these areas you have mentioned in terms of professionals.
This week, the chairman Senate Committee on Interior, Adams Oshemolu, raised the alarm on prisoners from foreign countries working on construction sites across Nigeria to the dismay of homegrown expats while calling for the regulation of quotas.
The Executive Order 5 and the local content laws always give that clause that where there is no capacity in Nigeria, that expatriate must be understudied by 5 Nigerian professionals.
The Local Content Act in Nigeria has been designed to engender the consideration, protection and development of homegrown talents across industries, maintaining a balance with foreign expertise. The current trend in the country, however, leaves much to be desired. Abdurrahman Omar, Trust TV News, Abuja.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up, we'll take a look at how Katsina residents resort to cheaper and accessible sweet potatoes as staple food. This and more after the break. Stay with us.
This is Africa Update on Trust TV. I am Ayuba. Thanks for joining.
Rest of Africa, stand and make sure that our people understand.
And the story of the OAU can be told and retold. It cannot be denied that it made a contribution to the process of decolonization of the continent in many ways.
Ethiopia is where it is today in no small part because of the tireless efforts of the African Union and the wisdom of its deeply held belief in the principle of African solution to African problems.
The bulk of African countries were under colonial rule in 1945. So they did not take part in the negotiations that established the Bretton Woods institutions.
But the African continent is not included in the South-South relations. And therefore, our objective is to ensure that the Africa Free Trade Agreement is actually implemented. And the BRICS countries, all of them are trading with Africa.
And we know that there are resources in Sudan, especially in Darfur. And that is why Darfur has been on the front burner for a long time.
So Cameroonians are anxious, Cameroonians are impatient, Cameroonians are like, oh, many of the guys are not talking today. You can read it all over the social media.
Egypt has officially declined to accept fleeing Palestinians for fear that the more Palestinians you accept across the border into Egypt, the more trouble there may be for the country in the nearest and farthest future.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is News Update on Trust TV. Here is a recap of our top stories. Sultan of Sokoto promises to get justice for victims of Kaduna bombing. And Katsina government orders suspension of teacher over alleged sexual harassment of female student. Cases of students abandoning their academic pursuits on account of financial constraints and raising living costs have become a common feature among Nigerian students. In this special report, Rahima Dokaji tells the story of Aminu Abdurrahman, a passionate student of English education at the Yusuf Maitama Sule University, Kano, who had to make the difficult decision of leaving university due to financial constraints to shoulder the responsibility of caring for his aging father and younger sisters. The report.
Aminu's dreams were shattered not due to a lack of passion or potential, but because he couldn't afford to continue his education after the death of his mother, who was his sponsor. Aminu shared his story, shedding light on the struggles faced by countless young people in similar circumstances. According to him, their dreams and ambitions are stifled by circumstances beyond their control.
I would like to get a job, for example, any kind of job. I'm capable to do it, just to be dependent on myself, take care responsibility of my father, my sisters, and I wish to take my education, just go further, as I said before. This is some of my goals in my life.
Experts in the field of education, such as Professor Ahmad Muhammad Soni of the Department of Economics, Bayero University, Kano, emphasizing the long-term consequences of interrupted education, stressing the significance of education in national growth, innovation, and competitiveness. He also highlights the challenges faced by interrupted students in finding suitable employment, excavating the issue of underemployment. 900 billion naira has been earmarked for student loan in the 2024 budget, raising the hope of students like Aminu, whose ambition is to acquire a university degree no matter the setbacks. Rahima Shehudu Kaji, Trust TV News, Kano.
As living costs and other predicaments occasioned by the fuel subsidy removal continue to bite harder on many Nigerians, the Katsina residents are resorting to food items that are cheaper, accessible, and affordable. Residents rush to sweet potato sellers to purchase the commodity for meals, while others cook and sell to make ends meet. In Katsina, Abdullahi Yamadi has more on this report.
Residents, especially low-income earners, make sweet potatoes one of their preferences. As the saying goes, a beggar has no choice. Many households resort to buying sweet potatoes, which is cheaper compared to other food items, to make meals as an alternative. The situation is no longer bearable. From these 700 naira potatoes, I rely for a meal, and the leftover will be sold to meet other basic needs of my family. The price of everything has tripled without a corresponding increase in salaries and wages. I'm the breadwinner of my family. I can't afford other food items like rice, beans, yam, wheat, and others. As a low-income earner, I bought 400 naira potatoes for lunch, not knowing when and where the next meal will come from. That I left to Almighty Allah to provide. The price of sweet potatoes has gone up in recent days, largely due to increased demand and low supply of the commodity, a situation many attributed to cost of transportation on other farm inputs. Residents appealed to the state and the federal governments to, as a matter of urgency, rescue Nigerians from abject poverty and the persistent increase in the prices of essential commodities, and address further escalation of insecurity in the country. A bag of potatoes sold at 7,000 naira in recent months is now between 20 to 21,000 naira, largely due to high cost of farm inputs, fuel, and labor. Everybody have to bear with the situation. As you can see, it is season for irrigation activities, but many farmers have been forced out. We need an urgent intervention. Public commentators suggest immediate implementation of a living wage for all Nigerians in the public and private sectors and subsidized farm inputs to reduce potential crises that may be triggered by food scarcity. Abdullahi Izumayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
In business, the presidency on Friday said oil giant Shell will invest $6 billion in Nigeria, especially in offshore gas and liquefied natural gas, the LNG project. Nigeria, the continent's top economy and major oil producer, is seeking to attract more foreign investment since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu came to office in May with a raft of economic reforms. After meeting with Tinubu in Abuja, Shell representative Zoe Yujnovich announced an imminent $5 billion investment in the Bonga North offshore project and commitment to another $1 billion over the next 5 to 10 years in gas and LNG, according to a presidency statement. President Tinubu said that he was committed to overcoming roadblocks to investment for the energy sector. Nigeria has seen its oil output on the decline in recent years due to widespread theft from pipelines and attacks and high operating costs deterring onshore investors. The group managing director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPCL, Mele Kyari, has revealed that there are over 4,800 illegal connections on the company's pipeline nationwide. Kyari, who made the disclosure while appearing before the Senate Committee on Appropriation, apologized for his inability to appear before the committee earlier. The group managing director of NNPCL, while reacting to the spate of crude oil theft in Nigeria, stating that between June to November 2023, the company has paid a total of 406 billion naira into the Federation account. Kyari maintained that the era of subsidy has gone for good, noting that before the end of the year, Port Harcourt and Warri refineries will be functional, while that of Kaduna will be up and running before the end of 2024. Earlier, the chairman of the Appropriation Committee, Adeola Olamilekan, informed the gathering that the group managing director of NNPCL had tendered his apology for his failure to appear and schedule, noting that the essence of the sitting was for the corporation to shed more light on its estimates for 2024. Away from Nigeria, the Israel pounded the Gaza Strip from north to south on Saturday in an expanded phase of its 2-month-old war against Hamas. This came after the United States wielded its UN Security Council veto to shield its ally from a global demand for a ceasefire. 13 of the Security Council's 15 members voted for the resolution, calling for an immediate humanitarian ceasefire that was blocked by Washington. Britain abstained. And since a truce collapsed last week, Israel has expanded its group campaign into the southern half of the Gaza Strip by launching the storming of the main southern city, Khan Yunis. Simultaneously, both sides have reported a major surge in fighting in the north. Now, residents of Khan Yunis said on Saturday that Israeli forces were ordering people out of another district just west of positions the Israelis stormed earlier this week, suggesting a further assault could be imminent. In sport, Tunisia's side Club Africain on Friday night arrived Uyo ahead of their CAF Confederation Cup clash with Rivers United. Club Africain will look to maintain their unbeaten run in Group C when they take on Rivers United at the Godswill Akpabio International Stadium, Uyo, on Sunday. The former African champions top the group with 6 points from 2 games. Rivers United occupies second position in the group with 3 points from same number of matches. The encounter will kick off at 5 p.m. Nigeria time. And with this, we wrap up news updates on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news programs and documentaries. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Thanks for watching.